If we want to change our life, we are often told to think big, make drastic changes, or we have to study a lot. But what if we can make major transformation by just doing small changes in our daily routine? We all tend to overestimate the importance of small actions and underestimate the power of doing things on a regular basis. Real change comes from the compound interest of doing things regularly on the daily basis for longer period of time. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to learn 4 important lessons from the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. The book is all about making good habits and breaking the bad ones. This book explains how tiny habits and small decisions can help you in altering your life and can help us live healthier, happier and more fulfilled life. So there are basically 4 key insights that we are going to learn from this book. First, we are going to talk about the power of 1% change over the time. Second, we should not focus on the goals, instead we should focus on the systems. Thirdly, it's all about the identity rather than outcomes. Finally, we will look into the fundamental laws of behavior change. So why does 1% matter? How does it even affect our lives? Well, it's all about the power of compounding effect. Compounding can be very powerful both positively and negatively if we give it a proper time. If we get better 1% each day, over the year we can get 37 times better in a year. Habits are compound interest of self-improvement. Habits don't seem to make much difference on a given day, but in a long run they affect our lives in a very positive way. But the impact over the years can be very enormous. We often don't think about the small changes because sometimes it takes very far to see the results from the habits that we are doing it regularly. This is something that I also really struggle with, and I think this probably applies to everyone. Equally, the slow rate of transformation means the bad habits can creep in very easily, like eating badly and not exercising. And when we repeat these habits day after day, these small bad habits accumulate into a very large problem. As James Clear said in his book, time magnifies the margin between the success and the failure. Good habits make time your friend, and bad habits make time your enemy. We always expect the progress to be linear, but the compounding effect doesn't work on the linear progress. Instead, the results we get in the compound interest are exponential. This led to initial value of disappointment in most of the habits that we are trying to build, where we don't feel we are making progress as the result don't follow the linear trajectory that we expect, and we end up giving up because we are not getting the result we are wanting. But let me tell you something very clearly. The results on the compound interest are exponential and they take some time in the future. And the second point that I want to share is screw goals and focus on the system. James identifies 4 major problems with goal setting. Firstly, winners and losers both have the same goals. Every candidate wants to get a job. Every athlete wants to get a gold medal. So actually it can't be the goal that actually differentiate people. Secondly, achieving goal is a momentarily change. Just suppose हमें बार बार अपने रूम को गंदा करने की आदत है, हम चीज़ों को जहाँ से उठाते हैं वहाँ पे नहीं रखते हैं. तो रेदर देन आपको रूम बार बार साफ करने पे फोकस करें, आपको अपनी आदतों को सुधारना चाहिए. कि अगर आप जहाँ से जिन चीज़ों को उठाएंगे उनको वहीं पे रखेंगे तो रूम बार बार गंदा नहीं हो. सो हमें उस चीज़ पर फोकस करना चाहिए जिसकी वजह से बार बार प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही हैं, रेदर देन उस प्रॉब्लम पर. एंड द थर्डली, जेम्स आर्ग्यूज दैट गोल्स डिलेज आवर हैप्पीनेस. मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम हम ये सोचते हैं कि अगर मेरे ये टास्क अचीव हो जाएगा तब मैं खुश होऊंगा, ये मेरा माइलस्टोन अचीव हो जाएगा तब मैं ये ट्रिप करूंगा. सो दिस इज there will be always another mountain to climb. There is no place for happiness. You have to take your happiness along the way. Otherwise, we will often end up putting off happiness for the next milestone. And there's another nice quote here. The purpose of setting goals is to win the game, and the purpose of building systems is to keep playing the game. The best example that I want to share is, suppose कोई मैच चल रहा है, and if the player is focusing on the scoreboard, अगर प्लेयर स्कोरबोर्ड पे फोकस करेगा तो अच्छे से खेल नहीं पाएगा, और जो अच्छे से खेल नहीं पाएगा तो स्कोर अच्छे नहीं बनेंगे. जबकि सभी गेम्स का मोटिव यही होता है कि स्कोर अच्छे करने हैं. सो सिमिलरली, इफ यू आर ट्राइंग टू फोकस ऑन द आउटकम, you will not be able to get that outcome. You should focus on the process and you should enjoy that particular process. The quote here that I want to share with you all is, if you will play the game properly, the score will take care of itself. Now step 3 that I want to share from the book Atomic Habits by James Clear is the 3 layers of behavior change. As you can see in the picture, the innermost layer is the identity layer. The second layer is the processes layer, and the third layer is the outcome layer. Most of the people try to focus on the outcome and they move toward the identity. Instead, we should focus on the identity and then move toward the outcome. We should go from inwards to outwards, not from the outcomes to the identity, right? As author says in the book, the intrinsic form of motivation is when you make that habit your identity, then only you will be able to achieve something, your goal, right? When we try to solve the problem in terms of the outcomes and the results, then we try to solve them on the temporary basis. But to solve the problem for the longer run, we should focus on the systems, and we need to change our identity to solve that problem. And the fourth lesson that I want to share with you all is how to make the good habits at the first place, and how do we overcome the difficulty. We can actually split up the process of making habits into 4 steps. The number 1 is cue, and the second one is craving, and the third one is response, and the fourth one is reward, as you can see in the image. Now, cue is something which triggers your brain to take the action, and craving is something which provides you motivation to keep doing the work, and the response is the action or the task we perform, and the reward is something when we get after doing the process. Now, there are 4 laws of behavior change. The number 1 is that make it obvious. If you really want to change something, you should make it obvious. Like, we brush our teeth regularly because we have made it very obvious. अगर आपको किसी भी काम को अपने डेली लाइफ का पार्ट बनाना है, then make it obvious कि हाँ, ये काम तो करना ही है, बाकी कोई काम हो ना हो. Just like कि brush करना is like कि हाँ, this is a compulsory task that everyone does, right? Suppose you want to learn the piano, then playing piano should be your like brushing the teeth, right? कि ये काम तो करना ही है, दिन में टाइम निकाल. And the second point is that make it attractive. Make it attractive means कि उस काम को करने में, स्टार्ट करने में बहुत ज़्यादा परेशानियां ना हो. Suppose you want to learn the piano and आपकी जो ट्यूशन क्लासेस है वो बहुत दूर है, then sometimes जो डिस्टेंस इतनी दूर कवर करके जाना और आना, you feel that why to go that much far, right? So the tuition should be nearby to your home. As humans, we are motivated by the anticipation of the reward. So making habits attractive will help us to stay with it for a longer time. In fact, one of the make it attractive thing, I started listening to audiobooks on the platform Kuku FM, and I think this is the best time to do the sponsorship of the Kuku FM on my video. We don't have any sponsor for this video, and I hope you will enjoy the ad-free experience. And the third point is that make it easy. किसी भी काम को start करने के लिए इसको बहुत ज़्यादा difficult levels पे मत start करें. If you want to play a game, start with the easy levels. Similarly, किसी चीज़ को शुरू करना है तो उसको धीरे से start करें. छोटे छोटे टास्क पहले कंप्लीट करें. आफ्टर दैट यू कैन टैकल द लॉन्गर टास्क. यू आर ट्राइंग टू सॉल्व एन अलजेब्रा, तो पहले अलजेब्रा के बेसिक्स क्वेश्चंस करें, एंड आफ्टर दैट यू कैन मूव टू द हायर और एडवांस अलजेब्रा. एंड द फोर्थ पॉइंट इज दैट मेक इट रिवॉर्डिंग और सेटिस्फाइंग. द कार्डिनल रूल ऑफ द बिहेवियर चेंज इज व्हाट इज इमीडिएटली रिवॉर्डेड इज रिपीटेड, एंड व्हाट इज इमीडिएटली पनिश्ड is avoided. To develop some good habits, James says in his book that we should try to attach some instant gratification for that habit so that we can make that habit instantly satisfying. The great power of atomic habits is the emphasis it places on the systems rather than goals, identity rather than outcome, and the small habits rather than drastic changes. There isn't any precise answer how long will it take to build a habit, because habits are not a finish line to cross but a lifestyle that we have to live. The key part from the book is to remember that the habits compound over time and you should keep doing that habit. Atomic habits may be individually small, but if we will give time to them, they will compound over the years and they can make remarkable changes into our life.